So we do have the Reaper arriving here. Oh, I guess actually it has arrived, but it really shouldn't get anything done. Now, the question here is whether Bunny will be able to knock down the creep tumor. And, well, it doesn't look likely based off of positioning. Well, the Reaper did have enough HP to maybe accomplish that. Now we do have a third base on location here, and I noticed this is something that we've seen Zerg start to do in some really minor technique. But we see the grenade get dropped, and Zerg players have kind of started to realize that all they got to do is put their queen on the other side of the grenade, so suddenly the grenade launches them at the Reaper instead of the other way around. And we saw Solar do that right there, but it really didn't come to fruition. No additional damage on the Reaper. Reaper was already running away. And again, it's a really minor thing. It doesn't really change the outcome of the Reaper-Queen interaction all that much. Really, in the grand scheme of things, very rarely, if at all. But still pretty cool to see. Honestly, though, like, yeah, TVT finals, TVT is not nearly the matchup it once was. There was a time, right, when it was probably the best mirror, but I don't know. PvP definitely is the best mirror nowadays, and I'd give a vote for ZVZ, especially with the Hydraling lurker late game. But also, I'm a bit weird, and sometimes I think I'm like the only person that really enjoys ZVZ. I was getting really excited. Instead, there was the OSC midseason playoffs qualifier last night. And the final qualifying series was a ZVZ, and I just got really excited about it because we don't see a lot of ZVZ in the meta right now. Zergers are kind of down overall. I mean, yes, there's Raynor who won the world championship, but in general, especially in Korea, I mean, it's just not a lot. So with that being said, of course, Bunny is going for a Hellbat timing here into this game number 2. It's going to be Marauder Hellbat, so a little bit more committed than your standard Hellbat build, but also with maybe just a little bit more potential for damage. Now, of course, the downside here for Solar, or for Bunny, is the fact that, oh, never mind, there is a medevac here. So we will have, it is going to be 3 Marauders and I guess 1 Marine going on here. Queen's targeting down the medevac immediately, but with the Marauders attacking all of these Queens, they got to be very careful. Indeed, Zerglings coming on in from behind, trying to get on top of these Marauders, but they will only be somewhat successful. Now, it does look like, of course, the medevac was finally targeted down, and the splits here on these Queens are fantastic. But you still got to be careful, right? Oh, this wall, though, this spine coming on in. Yeah, this is held here from Solar. Really, really good job. Even as more Hellbats do come rallying on in, and the Zerglings are trying to fight it with this spine here, and the Queen's in the wall. There is no way that this push is going to get anything done whatsoever. So at the start of things, it's looking damn good for Solar here. He's going to hold the unscouted Marauder Hellbat attack. And behind this, we're going to see drones. We're going to see upgrades. Upgrades already on the way. And with the lair on the way as well. The only thing that Solar really lost was a couple Zerglings. I think it was like 2 or 3 Queens. Okay, 3 Queens still acceptable. And he lost some creep spread, which you don't want to lose. Don't get me wrong. And please, no references to the GSL. I have not had a chance to see it because it was right this morning and I'm on East Coast, so I woke up for this, but that's about it. Now, the Hellbat push is coming on in again. The Queens are somewhat out of position. Spine is as well, and I said there was no way this was going to get any damage, but I think I'm a little bit wrong here because the Queens, again, they are out of position, and this Hellbat Marauder run by is just trying to find his way on into the main base, I guess. Punch man into the natural. The drones are getting pulled a little bit late, and we're starting to see some workers go down. I mean, it's not a lot still, and things are still, it's not nearly as much as Bunny wanted, but okay, you got go Solar, be careful. Okay, that's only four drones. But that could have been so much worse. So at the end of the day, what was that? 2 more Queens and a couple workers killed off. That's a little bit better there for Bunny. Still not what he's looking for, but a lot better than what he was suffering. Or a lot better than what he was expected to get in this game after it started the way it did. So third base is now on the way, and Bunny immediately. This is actually something he's been doing in TVC, and not a lot of other people have. He gets a lot of command centers in this matchup. He expands faster than... honestly, he expands like a Zerg. It's pretty crazy. We have a 4th base, or we have the macro hatch on the way here from Solar. He does have his 4th base done, but we already have a 4th command center on the way here for Bunny, as he's taking his 3rd base, which is... I mean, it signals the desire to not push all that much, but also that is just greedy as hell. Not saying it won't work, Now, the massive upside here for Solar is he has a significant, and I mean a very significant upgrade lead. Every second it gets better. So, you know, while Bunny, he does have 1-1, and Solar does have 1-1. So we're not looking at that in terms of like a tangible upgrade lead at the moment. The timings here are going to be massive. So 2-2 is just about halfway done as 2-2 gets started here for Bunny. So Solar is going to be in a fantastic position to take those intermediate fights. At the very least, it means Bunny's not really going to be able to push all that well for the next couple of minutes. That's certainly that 2-2 timing that he wants to maybe take advantage of. It's not really going to be there. And Solar, well, he's taking advantage of this timing lead that he does have. Lair's about halfway done. He has not really had to take much of a fight whatsoever. If we look at resources lost, it's actually dead even. Wow, that was unexpected. But the point being, it's not a lot this game. It's 2,600 minerals each, or 2,600 resources each. And that means that Solar, because he hasn't had to trade all that much to make this game happen, well, his hive is rather quick. He's going to be able to get on into. Actually, this is looking like an ultra game more than anything else. We don't see Hydra Den done. We don't see a Lurker Den on the way. So we should see an Ultra Cavern go down. A rather quick 3-3 here from Solar. So he's looking to take advantage of this. And now his 2-2's not done, but he still has a lot of bailing, so he will be able to take this fight. And there we go. Ultra Cavern on the way. Adrenal Gland's on the way here. And with 2-2 done in 5 seconds, I mean, Bunny can't really push. He can try, but he's going to be down so far in tech. He's down so far in upgrades that he's not going to be happy. And, you know, when was the last time you saw a Zerg get to 3-3 before Terran Player did? Like, the 3-3 timing in TVZ against 2-2 is the traditional inflection point where the Terran starts to really take a lead, if they do, in that game. And, well, we just have a Zerg getting there first. Now, the Zerglings are going to try to come on in here, and with the tanks on the defense, it's not going to be that successful. But now Zerglings are going to find their way on into the natural here. And again, they do have an upgrade lead, so they will be able to fight this army better than they normally would. As we will, oh, you know what, honestly, Solar getting 3 tanks here, even if he doesn't get that many workers. And it looks like he's going to start to get a couple more targeted down. So 4 workers, 4 or 5 workers, and 3 tanks. Oh, man, what a great move there from Solar. He's going to take the linchpin out of this push just a little bit easier. As we do have Bunny pre-splitting on creep. The creep is not really gone just yet. And notice the tanks are sieging up on this bridge. The bridge is, honestly, once the bridge is there, there's not a whole lot you can do to break that one out. So Solar, he just says, okay, look, you're going to try to push on into me. I have enough creep spread buffer that no big deal there. Zerglings are kind of trying to find their way on into the natural, into the third base. And there's absolutely nothing here to defend it. So this is Solar right here. He's going to turn Bunny all in. The Bailings are going to go crashing on in. And Solar, he's got the army. Bunny was trapped up against the rest of his bio. So much bio died. These Bailing connections are insane. Solar now 190 supply to 130. Zerglings on into the natural. So many workers going down here. And behind this Solar, he's got 3-3 on the way. He's got ultra plating on the way. I don't know what Bunny is supposed to do, because again, Bunny, he was greedy. He got his 4th base quickly. He had a 5th base on the way before that one was canceled. We have even Vipers here, not that they're necessary. And there we go, GG Solar. He takes game 1. And I do apologize. OBS apparently did not save my settings, so I think game sound was a little bit loud in game number 1. But that has now been fixed. And we're getting ready here. Solar, he's opening with a standard build, 16, 18, 17, which is honestly kind of surprising. I've seen a lot of 12 pool openings on this map, but maybe it's one of those things where you say, okay, look, everyone expects me to open 12 pool. Everyone expects me to be aggressive. So what's the most aggressive thing that I can do? Not do a 12 pool. So that's what we see here from Solar potentially. I do still expect to see a roach push of some sort, because again, it's 28 seconds. You can walk queens, you can walk roaches so dang fast across this map. And considering the siege positions outside of either third base and how difficult it is to take a 4th, I don't think it makes sense here for Solar to really try to take this game late. But of course, we shall have to see, and nothing is guaranteed. All right, so look at this. Bunny already looking a little bit better here in this game. He does kill off a Zergling, and Solar actually went for 6 Zerglings instead of 4. So going for 6 Zerglings instead of 4 and losing a Zergling is that's unfortunate. That is not what is supposed to happen there. Generally, the calculus says that, okay, well, if I go for 6 Zerglings, I just shouldn't lose anything. If I go for 4, I should lose 1. Maybe. I mean, almost for a second, it looked like Solar was going to lose 2. So, really nice moves here for Bunny, as he is going to be able to circumnavigate the main base. Say, hey, are there any Roach Warrens behind your mineral line? And that answer is no, actually. Solar's got a 3rd base on the way, as another Zergling does go on down, but nice zoning will prevent this Reaper from really getting on anywhere else. So this Reaper should die, and nice job there. Killing the Reaper before speed is a fantastic thing indeed, and this is a Bunny that is going, or this is a Solar, excuse me, that is going for his normal speed build, right? 4-minute speed after a delayed first gas is the standard. However, on this map, you might expect him to go for a speed that hits just a little bit faster, again, because of the rush distance, because of how small the map is. But both players are not playing this map like I would have expected them to. Right? This is a 3cc build here from Bunny. Solar, he's taking his quick 3rd as well. No roaches, nothing like that. So I guess we're just kind of, both players are saying, you know what, look, everyone expects us to be aggressive on this map. So the best way to be aggressive on this map is to not be aggressive at all, which is valid. That's a valid argument. But certainly an interesting one indeed. Yeah, agreed, Bitterwood. If Bunny was anything, it should be this map. And he's not really taking advantage of it. I've seen a lot of two-base tank pushes on this map that have just been unstoppable. Right, you siege up right on the doodads right outside of this 3rd base, and there's not a whole lot that the Zerg can do. Not a whole lot that a Protoss can do, for that matter, or a Terran if the siege up happens. It just is a really strong map for Terran. In fact, I did a best of 9er yesterday between Parting and Bunny off of Parting and Beyond off of replays, and we saw this map actually twice in PvT. The second time, well, Parting just went for an all-in version of the Max Packs build, and it didn't really matter how the map played. But in the first time, we saw Beyond. He just sieged outside of the 3rd base and said, "Okay, look, you don't get to mine here." So now we do have Hellions going to look to dive on in. 4 drones will die immediately because, of course, well, 3 Hellions are the 1-tap potential, so 4 Hellions even better. And oh, gotta be careful to line them up. But no, the Zerglings will get the trap on in. 2 Hellions will die. 3 Hellions die. And this should be the end of things. Shouldn't be anything more than that, but 6 workers do go down. And that is already more damage than Bunny got with his entire Hellbat Marauder pressure in game number 1. Now we do have Bunny adding on to his production here. He has his 3rd base, and he's going to drop that down rather soon. And you know what? The creep spread here from Solar is not all that inspiring yet. Now, the Hellions actually didn't do a lot to really keep the creep spread back, so that does mean that, honestly, Solar should be able to expand his creep spread rather quickly. But look at this, now we have Zerglings on into the natural saying, hey, look, you don't have a lot of map control. I should maybe be able to dive on in here, but the 1 Hellion that remains, like the 1 extra Hellion, that was weird, right? We had 4 Hellions across the map. They all died, but there's 1 Hellion left over. And that will keep Bunny alive here, so he doesn't lose a commensurate amount of SCVs. So nice moves there from Bunny, just keeping that 1 little bit of splash alive, making sure that he's not going to suffer from that, as we do have tanks on the way. We have combat shield just about done, 1-1 on the way, but this is timed up evenly with our Zerg player. And the creep spread outside of Solar's 3rd base is starting to get rather nice. It is starting to get to that point where a tank push is going to find it maybe a little bit difficult to actually get on in there to hit that doodad position, but there are other sieged up positions that are still really good, so it just slows the leapfrog stall. Or it just stalls the leapfrog push out just a little bit. Now, I don't see Bunny pushing here before 1-1. That would be a bit of an anti-timing, but once 1-1 does happen, once he does get combat shields, and he's going to be at like 130 supply, well, it's going to be rather good indeed. I mean, this drop is coming. All right, this is Bunny trying to establish his presence on the map, because Solar does own his half of the map now. Creep spread, it's not in the corners just yet, but he certainly does own his half of the map. And that makes it somewhat difficult for Bunny to move on into, because we have seen 0 pressure from Bunny thus far. I mean, he ran some Hellions in, but that is not map pressure. That's just economic pressure. The 4th base on the way here for Solar. Bailing speed is a little bit delayed. That's something that we do have to take a look at here. It's going to be maybe a little bit more difficult to deal with any pushes coming on in with only with slow bailings for the next 45 seconds. And considering I expect to see the tank push coming out now, Solar may have to hold this push without his bailing speed, which is, of course, always not all that fun. So Solar, in a change this game, he is going for a Hydrogen as he does get his hive. So this is going to be lurker tech. And look at this, we got a Baneling drop coming on in as well. Where is this getting started? So here up on the left hand side, this is going to be Baneling drop. Now of course it does take 2 Banelings to kill an SCV right now, so surprised that it's only 3 and not 4. That's just going to be 1 wasted Baneling. But we will have that drop getting ready sooner rather than later. Queens are trying to fight this, and well, they're not going to fight this all that well, but they will still survive. And is this a tank push, or is this posturing for a 4th base here from Bunny? I mean, I read this as a tank push, right? But his positioning here outside of the I guess this is just a bit of posturing to make sure that he can clear the creep off eventually. But Baneling speed is now done. Now, Solar's gonna get some really good Baneling connections, even as he does lose maybe 1 or 2 to the tanks. That entire bio army will go down, and look at this Solar knocking down all the destructible rocks, which is really what you have to do in this game. That position there on the right hand side is such a powerful pushing position that the rocks need to die. In fact, this map gets a lot more playable if you're able to knock all the rocks down, but that's not easy, right? Because of how aggressive Terrans tend to be. You don't often have a lot of room. You don't often have a lot of time to really knock the rocks down. So now we have the Terran pushing yet forward, knocking down yet more of the creep. Now, of course, the benefit here for Solar is he has a massive creep spread on the left-hand side. As Banelings, Zerglings are going to come crashing on in. Zerglings trying to get on top of these tanks. 1 tank does go down, but the 2nd and 3rd will not. And each time this happens, of course, the creep spread is removed even more. And Bunny keeps pushing. Now for Solar, we do have 2-2. It's just about done. It is actually massively ahead. Bunny forgot his +2 armor, and we're gonna have to see whether that really comes to be impactful. Now we do have Zerglings on the counterattack, and when you're looking at a small map, when you're looking at a map that is nominally Terran favored as this one is, this is a really good thing you can do. You say, okay, look, I'm gonna go find your rally coming on in. I'm gonna try to knock down any tanks that you do have, and well, Banelings attack crashing on into tanks is maybe not the best thing. We do have Bunny with a fairly decent supply lead here. He does have his 4th base done. The run-bys there on the left-hand side look like they're just getting cleaned on up, as Solar is just attempting to expand away from this push here from Bunny, because honestly, this is a very difficult push to break, especially with the creep spread going on away. So Solar's about to lose 2 bases here. He loses his 4th, and he's going to lose his 5th. So Banelings are going to come crashing on into the 3rd base. The tanks will go on down here, and we're going to start to see some massive eco damage here from Bunny. But I think the damage from Solar, or the damage that Solar's going to take, is going to be even worse. Right, 10 drones have already died. We will see more, and 2 bases have died here. So Solar, he's only a 3-base Zerg for the moment. Yes, he has a 4th on the way, but for the moment, 3-base Zerg. He has a Lurker Den on the way, and he does have Lurkers here, which will allow him to slow things down just a little bit. Bunny, even if he did lose 16 workers, which is nice, by the way, he still has 4 bases. He still has mules. And he's still on just about 60 workers. So he's still pretty happy where he is, as the tanks are going to keep sieging on up here. Lurker range is just about done, and that is going to be a saving grace indeed. But now we have Bunny. He says, to hell with your outlying bases at this point. I don't really care. I'm going to start trying to break your high ground. So Banelings are going to come rolling on in, trying to deal with this. But the tanks on the low ground, this is just such a difficult position to break. And we don't have, actually, no, we do have Vipers. So the Lurkers are going to burrow on in, and these tanks should go on down. The position here on the high ground will get taken out here. But now we have Bunny rolling on into the natural. The tanks are here, of course, but the Lurkers, they're a little bit out of range, and the Baneling nest does go down. That being said, with the blinding cloud, what Baneling connections. Fantastic Baneling connections indeed. Solar's going to equalize the push just for a moment. We do need to see upgrades get started here. These are upgrades that Solar cannot afford, because, of course, he only is on 4 bases. Now we have the Zerglings are going to find a couple more of these tanks. Actually, they're going to get... Oh, are they going to get all... No, they're only going to get 2. That is going to be nice, because we only have 4 tanks on the map now. Tanks sieging on up once again. And with the scans, these Lurkers are going to start to go on down. We don't have the Viper energy. We need to really get those abducts. And, well, Bunny, he is just closing the new Solar. He's on 4 bases, but he's never going to get a 5th. I mean, I suppose maybe he takes that that 12 o'clock-ish base, but... I mean, that is literally half a screen from the Terran. That's just going to be difficult indeed. Now we do have tanks that are going to start sieging away at the Lurker Den. You cannot, or the Hydra Den. You cannot afford to lose the Hydra Den here in this game. So Solar's going to look for the break once again. Zerglings come rolling on in. The last of the Banelings come rolling on in. We don't have any more. The Baneling nest is gone, but it will break away the tanks for the time being. And now, once again, we will have more and more drops coming on into the main base here, trying to just constrict Solar out of this map. And in all honesty, I'm not exactly sure what Solar's going to do. Now, how many Vipers do we have? We actually don't. It looks like the Vipers did die. And Queens are actually getting stuck on the ramp here, so it's hard for the Hydras to get their way on up. And now we just have Bunny. He's going to rotate around onto the third base here. We have no defense here. The lurkers are here, sure, but these are 0-2 lurkers. They don't have attack upgrades. GG. Bunny with the constriction play. We do have our third base up and running. Well, not up and running yet for Solar, but certainly it's down, so no block there. And, well, Bunny for his part, it's a 1-1-1 into a... Well, it's a expand 1-1-1. And, this means that there's a possibility that this will be a Hellbat play. Once again, this is what he did on the macro map that we saw in game number 1 with 2,000 atmospheres, and it certainly is a possibility. But we're just gonna have to wait and see here. Certainly it's a more standard opener. This will be Hellions. This also could just actually, no, this is looking like it's gonna be Banshee play. And there we go. Yeah, Banshees are gonna go on the way. I mean, there's a slim chance that it's gonna be a Raven. A slim chance that it will be a Raven. And you know what, honestly, when I see it, when I very occasionally see it, I actually really do like the Raven play. Or excuse me, yeah, I do like the Raven play. It does such a good job of controlling creep, and honestly, in the early game, auto turrets, they fight really well against pretty much everything. That is always really cool to see, but that's not what we see in this game. It is going to be Hellion Banshee here. Maybe, I mean, there's always the chance that it will be Hellbats too, but that is unlikely. So now we do have the Hellions. They're going to try to dive on into the natural, but Solar, he's got a much better drone pull in this game. Far less to worry about. So we will see the Hellions. They're just going to start to go on down. And this means that the Hellion, the Hellion part of Hellion Banshee, well, it's not going to be nearly as powerful as it once was. So at the end of the day, we saw 9 Zerglings die for 2 Hellions and a Reaper. Just based off of pure units lost perspective, Solar's going to be pretty happy about that. But also, well, it's a matter of map control. It's a matter of agency on the map. And Bunny has less of that. Losing that Reaper, losing those 2 Hellions, it means he's now at 4 Hellions instead of 6. And those 2 of those 4 Hellions are moderately to heavily damaged, which means it's just going to be that much more difficult for these Hellions to really find any sort of opening here as they look to shark around. But with the Zerglings on the side and the Queens in defense, not really going to be a whole lot. Now we do have the Banshee will show up, but Banshee's going to show up here trying to fight a Queen that has, and there is detection, so no big deal there. As the Zerglings are going to look for a, well, they're going to kill a Marine. Okay, but that's going to be just the extent of things here. Actually, the Banshee's going to be able to find a little bit of damage. The layer is not yet done, and it looks like the Banshee's found a position on the left-hand side where it is actually able to fight. That's going to be rather nice for it, as 3 workers do go on down. Just the workers in the gas, but still, it's non-zero damage. It's not nearly as good as what Bunny got in the previous game, but better than what he got in game 1. Well, maybe not, but for the investment, certainly a little bit better. And of course, behind this, we do have the third base on the way. And Solar, he's showing a third style in our third game. I love this from the Zerg player. Game 1, we saw Lingbane into Ultra. Although the Ultras didn't end up really mattering, it was just pure Lingbane into Ultra. Game 2, it was Lingbane into Hydra Lurker, which didn't work out, but I think that was more of the map than anything else. Game 3, we have Aspire on the way. This is going to be Mutatech, and it's really cool to hear to see Bunny adapting, well, really I should say Solar adapting his style to the map and to what he thinks the player is good at. So, oh man, that hatch is actually able to go down here. That's pretty cool. It just barely it was able to morph on into not a drone before it did go down. But you know what? He still has to be careful. The Banshee still has potential to cancel this, as it's getting very low. But no, the Queens will be there to defend. And now the Spire is done. So we do have 6 mutas on the way. Probably going to see like 9 or 10 is going to be that initial investment there. I guess we're just late for the larva. But look at this. Solar's got Zerglings on the ground. He says, look, I know you want to go try to kill that third base. I know that's what your plan is. Or that fourth base, I guess. I know that's what your plan is. I don't want to make that happen. So he will be able to knock down half of the Marine Force that was supposed to attend to that. And by the time Bunny really finds his way across the map here, it's not going to be nearly as powerful. But this is still a scary push. But now, oh, the tanks are running on back because the mutas are here, and Bunny understands that this push does not survive. So now the mutas are here. 1-1 is on the way. 1-1 plus 1 air is on the way as well, which is really nice there for Solar. I do appreciate that. When you go mutas, I do really like these styles that get, again, air upgrades. It feels like, honestly, when you go mutas, you should just go kind of big or go home. And sometimes we see Zerg players that just kind of go middle of the road, right? They get mutas and they get like 10 of them, and they get their delayed upgrades, but they don't get air upgrades. And then the mutas eventually they just time out because they can't really do much against +3 armored anything, and it just doesn't feel all that great. But if you get the upgrades, a little bit better indeed. Now look at this Solar. He's trying to put a. They're a Lingbane all-ins, but I mean this is not it. This is not that. He does have, of course, he does have upgrades on the way. But he is just looking to put a little bit of pressure here. As it's 8:30 in the game, Solar has his 5th base up and running. 90 workers, more and more mutas on the way. But Bunny does have his 4th base. He does have the planetary done. So both players, they have fantastic economies. They're pretty much where they want to be in this game. And well, we're gonna have to see how this one goes. How well Bunny's going to be able to break Solar. How well Solar is going to be able to withstand the continued aggression of Bunny. And how much damage the mutas are going to do. They've not done a lot yet, but that doesn't mean that they will not ever. As +1 air is just about done, 15 seconds away. And I like this for the moment here. It's just Solar knocking down rocks, allowing for counterattack positions, removing tank push positions, and all those fun things. So now the 6th base here will get denied here by Bunny just a little bit longer, as the creep spread is not quite there yet, and the Zerglings were not quite in position. So Solar right now, he's stuck on 5 bases as he is maxed out, and because he's maxed out, we're going to start to see him look to trade it just a little bit. It doesn't make a lot of sense to just build a bank off of 200 supply. You do want to be able to spend that bank, especially when you are sitting at 92 workers and have somewhat of a income lead. That's how you go, and that's how you make use of that lead, right? You know, it's not like you build a massive bank. It's you trade Lingbane on into things. Lingbane, probably not you mutas. The goal is not to trade that, but you trade Lingbane on into the Terran army, force them back, try to break maybe one of their bases, and go from there. Now, I do like this from Bunny. He's pushing on into the 6th base here of Solar, which is what he has to do. But also, because there's no creep spread there, so it's going to be a lot more difficult for the Zerglings and the Banelings to really take this fight here. Banelings are going to come crashing on in, of course. But there's a Marauder in the front. That makes things a little bit more difficult. But now the mutas, the Lings, the Banes, they're going to come on in. A nice pre-splits here on top of all of these Widow Mines. They're really not getting the connections they're looking for. The Thor is going to go down, and now the mutas here are able to take the fight. What a cleanup there from Solar indeed. Now, yes, the Thor, it's still in danger. Oh, he's going to get the medevac. Oh, that was almost incredibly dangerous. All these medevacs that Bunny is picking up his Thors on into, they are very low indeed. So it's almost 2 for 1. Solar not quite getting it, but certainly once he does have +2 air attack, if that's something he ever decides to get, that is going to be rather good for him indeed. Now we do have the Hive done, even as 2-2 is only just now getting started here for Solar. But look at this, the mutas on the counterattack as well. They will find this tank that is trying to bolster this 3rd base here, and the Zergling's getting on top of that missile turret as well. Really good job here from Solar. He will be able to, at the very least, force a lift. The economy's not going to die. The rally here is going to be back in time. But this is alleviated pressure from this 6th base here from Solar. And now with the Ultra Cavern on the way, we are well and truly getting on into our late game tech. And this is where the game gets really cool. These split map scenarios in ZVT are honestly where I think the game is the most beautiful. Well, Cypher don't feel too bad because Bunny had game number 2. I feel like everything was going wrong for Solar, but now, okay, look at this. Thor will go on down. Nice magic boxing there from Solar, and that gives him access to the 3rd base, which, you know what, honestly, it looks like he wasn't really able to get that much out of. I guess the missile turrets were too much of a problem. But now we're going to have the mutas getting ready for a flank here as the Banelings are coming, getting ready to roll on it. It is 2-2 versus 1-1. Bunny has forgotten his 3-3. And the Widow Mines, there's actually no minefield left anymore. They've all gone off. Now is the time for the break to come on happening here. Zerglings, Banelings rolling on in. That is so many Banelings. But it's going to be so hard to find their way up on the high ground here with the Thor and the Marauders forming a wall. They're building a wall and they're making the Zerg pay for it. Now the Banelings are going to come filtering on in, and you know what? Decent connections. Decent connections, but not incredible. Now it looks like we do have the mutas here. They will find this 5th base here from Bunny and knock down a couple workers at the very least. Maybe even knock it down. We're going to have to see exactly what happens with that one. But I think with the rally, Solar or Bunny's going to be able to take part of his rally and just deal with the mutas there. So not all that bad. And now Bunny, he's continuing to move on in. This push is accelerating, and the creep spread is going down. So the 6th base here from Solar is starting to be a little bit more in danger. And we're only on 8 mutas, by the way. Solar has committed to +2 muta tech, but it's only 8 mutas. But this is what Solar was waiting for. He's waiting for that 2-2, that upgrade parity. And now he's going to come rolling on in. Banelings, Zerglings everywhere. Mutas in the sky with diamonds. And now it looks like Solar will be able to break Bunny here. Those Baneling connections are going to be rather nice indeed. And the Ultras really are what are the bulwark here, because the Banelings, there are not that many of them left. But Solar, he's able to make that break happen. And as the Ultras, they're now running away. But here's the thing. Bunny does not have a +3 upgrade lead. He does have a +2 lead. He did have that. But that upgrade lead is now gone. And 3-3 here, just about timed out for the Zerg and the Terran at the same time. And behind this, of course, it does look like Solar, yeah, he re-upped his muta count just a little bit. He got 3 more. He does have 11 mutas now. And with +2 flyer attacks, that is rather nice indeed. It means he should be able to deal with this right-hand side base. Maybe. But here's the thing. The push here from Bunny on the right-hand side has been broken. We do need to see Solar rebuild that creep spread just a little bit. Nice splits there on top of the Widow Mines. Not a whole lot there. Will be successful. So now Solar, he's going to run on through. He says, look, you don't have that bulwark. You don't have those. You do not have those Widow Mines that are making it so difficult for me to take my engagement. I'm gonna. You need to back up, and Bunny will back on up. Ooh, nice Widow Mine. So this drop should now get cleaned on up here. Banelings and Mutas and Banes, and a couple Zerglings just for good measure. So that's really going to get cleaned on up here. And Solar with some really nice army splits. He already has what he needs to defend this push on the right-hand side as well. Although, especially if you're going to get Baneling shots like that. Really, really big Baneling shots indeed. And Solar, he's maxed out. Funny, he's down on army supply. He's down on workers. So he's down in overall supply here. And I love this from Solar. Realizing just how powerful mutas are in the late game. Until Ghosts are out. Once Ghosts are out, it's kind of useless. But for the moment, he realizes just how powerful mutas can be in this game as the game becomes a little bit bigger, a little bit more expansive. He's got 9 or 10 more mutas on the way. So he's going to go up to 20 something, that really nice big muta number that can deal with these drops, that can deal with this army as the Lings and the Banelings and the Ultras come flying on in or rolling on in. So 20 mutas here are on the map. 20 mutas, 5 Ultras, as many Zerglings as Banelings, but that's just because more and more Zerglings are on the way. And +3 flyer attack on the way as well. That being said, actually Solar gets the 3-3 before Bunny does. So that's going to be nice timing for him indeed. But there's not as much ground here for Solar as there once was. The muta commitment plus the 90 workers does mean that the ground army from Solar is maybe not quite as inspiring as it otherwise would be. But Solar with these mutas, now he's going to get some significant damage. That 6 base there from Bunny will get taken on down. And we will have, well, Solar's going to try to take the ground fight. But for the first time, the Widowmine shots are going to be dynamite indeed. And a lot of the Banelings are going to get taken out by this. But Solar, he's doing so much damage on the other side of the map. He honestly, he doesn't want to give up this position because that gives license to the bottom left-hand side, which honestly is starting to mine out anyways. But as long as he's able to take somewhat even trades, he's going to be a fantastic position indeed, because Solar is just starting to break all the bases. We've seen one planetary go down. We've seen one command center go down. And we're just seeing more and more planetaries going down here. The SCVs are going to try to repair. That just means it's going to be more dead SCVs. How many mutas are we at? 2 mutas have died in the resulting engagement here. And the mutas, they will be forced back because the rally does come on over to deal with it. But the mutas, they just need to regen a little bit. And they're going to find their way back on into this base once again. We don't have any missile turrets here. More and more SCVs are dying. And the mutas are really what the story of this game is. Yes, Solar does have a powerful ground army. And yes, he has taken rather good engagements over the course of this game. But really, that's not the story. It's the fact that these mutas have knocked down 2 bases. They have killed 30 SCVs. And they are forcing Bunny to be reactive on the map instead of proactive, which is not something a Terran ever wants. No, we do have concussive shells in a Gopambo. All right, Zergling counterattack. We'll find this 3rd base, but I mean, there are not a lot of SCVs here, so it's only going to be 2 SCVs. And once again, Solar is getting pushed as this 5th base, what is this? The 7th base here from Solar is trying to get on up. But look at this, Ultras on the right-hand side, Ultra run-bys. That's always a fun story. And they actually will be incredibly successful because Ultras are good against, okay, all 3 of these Ultras should die to that planetary. Yeah, there we go. The splash damage to the planetary is going to be more than enough. So While that was a really cool run by, at first the ultras were just too damn low, didn't really work on out, but now the queens are pushing here just a little bit, and mutas can fight this ground army. That is a problem indeed. That's just going to be a GG. And very excited about that one indeed. Now the Reaper will show on up here, and it's going to try to get something done. How much it's going to get done, I'm not really sure, but it's going to try to get something at the very least. And we probably should see one Zergling die. That's kind of the acceptable losses, but Solar, some really not good micro. He will not lose anything, only getting into the orange on every single Zergling. So, really nice job there. Oh, and the final thought on microphones. So, this is an aftermarket mic. It's not part of the headset. If you're looking for a decent mic, and honestly, this mic's been very good to me over the last like 6 years. Antlion mod mics, they come with a little sticky thing, and they're magnetic. You can put a sticker with a magnetic housing on any microphone, on any headset that you have. It goes in a 3.5mm jack, and then you then you attach the microphone to it. It's really awesome, actually. For what it is, it's a really high quality. I'm trying to improve even more. So there we go. So we'll be at Hellbat timing here on map number 4. This is the same thing that Bunny tried in game number 1. But did he? Maybe not. He was going concussive shells and then he canceled it. But he's still building Marauders. Interesting. Okay, concussive shells on the way anyways. Maybe he just... Oh, you know what I bet it was? He wanted to make sure he had the gas for the medevac in time. So yeah, he canceled concussive shells first. Macy doesn't need concussive shells that early anyways. Anyway, these Hellbat builds are pretty much what killed Rogue when Bunny 2-0'd him. So it makes sense that Bunny is going back to old faithful here, but I mean, we saw how well Solar held the Hellbat time in game number 1. Granted, that was a bigger map, and that was a map that, okay, so Zergling's gonna run on in and says, okay, you're holding a couple Hellions here. Granted, that is kind of what one does. That's kind of what the Terran tends to do, right? You hold on to a couple Hellions to make sure that you don't suffer from any run by, and then you move out across the map when you feel a little bit safer. But I wonder whether this is... Oh, it's not. Oh no, 9 drones on the way. Solar has no idea, and it's gonna be... Oh, it's gonna be Marauders too, and the Reaper grenade as well. Yeah, you know what I talked about it not working in game number 1. Well, it's gonna work in this game as all the queens are gonna get surrounded here immediately. Yes, one Marauder is gonna go down, and yes, the medevac has gone down, but we only have 3 queens on the map here. 3 queens are not enough to deal with this GG, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to game 5. And spawning in the upper left in the red, he is, of course, representing Team NV. Give it up for Solar. I'm sorry for Kutsi Gaming. I know my teams. And in the bottom right, in the blue, this time actually for Team NV, he is the young Terran player, Bunny. And this is a really interesting barracks position. Like, this is really, really weird. There's no wall here, which makes Bunny a little bit vulnerable to a bunch of early aggression that is most likely not going to happen because he's Solar. Solar has played the same build every single game in this series, and I get that he's not as much of a Rochi boy as, say, a Ragnarok, a Dark, or someone like that, but, I mean, I feel like you gotta throw something in there in a best of 5. I don't care quite how, I don't think they care, quite how macro you are. I mean, at the end of the day, throwing in a bit of a cheese, it just keeps things fresh, right? It means the Terran can't really cut as many corners as they would like. But I'm really confused as to what this barracks positioning is. I guess maybe it's hoping that the Overlord will see the lack of a barracks in the wall and cause Solar to freak on out, but it's like a Macarax in the main base. But I mean, in fairness, Solar's just going to see that there's a command center, and that's what's going to tell him that he's okay, not whether there's a a barracks in the wall or not. So, I mean, I guess maybe this hides production? I don't know. We're gonna have to see exactly what Solar has or what Bunny has planned. As Solar, he's gonna dive on into the natural, and this Reaper's not gonna get a lot. It looks like he got a Hellion, or got one Zergling, which is fine. That's kind of what's expected once again. And of course, well, the Hellion's gonna survive on 1 HP, or yeah, 5 HP really, but going to survive on one more shot, and no surprise there. But okay, so we have this is 1-1-1, not weird yet. What in the world? I can't get over this SimCity. In this game, if you're talking about game 4, Bunny went for a Hellbat Marauder timing, and Solar did not see it in time. The Hellbats were able to get right on top of the Queens. The Queens were all clumped up. Hellbats morphed on top of it, and like 4 Queens died instantaneously. All right, so this is going to be a Hellbat Marauder timing once again. But this, I guess the goal here is just to make it so it's harder to scout what the add-ons are. You keep him that far back, and you know Solar's not going to hit you with some sort of all-in. But look at this. Solar may actually just be hitting him with some sort of all-in. We're at 31 drones, 32. And we're going to go for like... Oh, it looks like it's actually just going to be 1-1 Roach. It's going to be standard Roach play. It's not going to be a 34 drone Roach attack. And look at this. So, despite everything, Solar will be able to find his way on in, sees the scout. Now, he won't see a Marauder. And I feel like that's a fake stim. Yeah, there we go. Concussive shells on the way. Kind of interesting, actually, that we saw Bunny, when he realized he was going to get scouted, start up stim instead of concussive shells. Because it's not like Solar can tell the difference. And honestly, stim doesn't always start this fast anyway, so it's not like showing him on upgrading Tech Lab is really going to make the difference between scouting this and not. Yes, Solar, whether he's well aware of this or whether this is just a prescribed all-in for him on 32 workers, actually, I think it is the latter. He's going to be very happy about what he sees, because yes, Marauders are good against Roaches, but I mean, Roaches are damn good against Hellbats. There will be far more Roaches than there will be Hellbats. So oh, look at this. Solar, he even mined out a position in the wall, so he's going to be able to make his way undetected around the other side of the map. And this is where things get a little bit weird, because we have Solar out on the map and Bunny out on the map here, with the Hellbat time is going to come on in. Both players are going to look to hit each other, but the Roaches will find things. So the defensive Roaches are going to be here. Now, 1 or 2 of them will get tagged immediately, but with the Queens on in here, we're going to have to see more and more Roaches, and that's what we will see. Now, the Roaches on the other side of the map, too, they're doing a fantastic job of knocking down reinforcements, and Solar has put Bunny into an impossible position. Does he go home and, well, try to defend, but also have this kind of all-in push not work, or does he continue on anyways, hoping against hope that he's going to have enough here as more and more Roaches come on in? So now the Roaches, they find their way on into the high ground. All the SCVs in the low ground have died, but the Queens are not really targeting down this medevac, which means the Roaches here on the ground, they're not maybe fighting as well as they could. The Queens are actually starting to die here, but it's just going to be a matter of quantity over quality. As there we go, the push is going to get broken here. Roaches on in the natural, killing off so many SCVs. The Ravager Cocoon will die. The Roaches don't even care if they die anymore. I mean, they want to live as long as possible, but they have thrown such a wrench into Bunny's game. Now, we do have Hellbats on into the main base. That drop is trying to get something done, but more and more Zerglings are going to come streaming across the map. Roaches as well. Bunny's never going to mine for this natural, at least not for a while, and he is so heinously supply blocked. And we do have this push on into the main base here, but it only got 2 workers, right? It was forced on out. It was just triple Marauder. Or no, sorry, 2 Marauders and a Viking, excuse me. And that is not nearly enough. Now the Roaches, the Ravagers, Zerglings are going to come on in here, and this wall will get broken down. And actually, with it, this is a supply dropped wall too, so this is going to be massive here for Solar. He's able to break things, and there we go. Biles are going to come on down, forcing the army back. And now the Roaches are going to come on in. More and more Zerglings, more and more Roaches on the way. It is do or die here for Bunny, but I think it's more die than do. And yes, the Liberator has done a lot. Yes, the drop has done a decent amount making sure that it happens, but now Bunny, he's not supply blocked only because he doesn't have that much of an army. The Rich Depot, it will go on down here. Zerglings on into the middle line. Ravagers as well. The Liberator has died. It is 12 SCVs here to 30. The Biles are going to come on down. And Zerglings, they're zoning, they're killing here. Solar, he takes game number 5.